Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoilery gush for The Wicked King by Holly Black. As I said, this video will have spoilers in it, so if you haven't read this book, go ahead and check out my spoiler-free review, which is linked on the screen. So as I said in my review, the distance that I had and the time that I had between reading Cruel Prince that I read like early last year and then reading this was good, because I was able to kind of be like, yeah, the Jude in here, I mean, she's capable, she like knows things, where in the first book I was like, where, like, all of this arc that we've got, and we've barely seen her train, how does she know how to do any of this? Where since there was 5 months between the first book and this book, I was able to be like, okay, I believe that she can just like climb a building. I believe that she like knows all this politics stuff. It's fine, I'll just go with it. And me just being much more willing to go with it this time around, because I'd had some distance from the first book and went in with lower expectations, made me like this. I kind of feel like this is sort of the like ACOTAR effect. As I was reading this, I was kind of thinking of that. Like, I had a similar experience with ACOTAR, another Fae series, where I went into the first book with everyone hyping it up and read it later and didn't like it, really hated it. I think it was like a 1 or 2 star book for me. And then people were really hyping up the second book and I was like, expectations are low, man. And going into that, I loved that book. So would I say I loved this book? No, but I strongly, strongly liked it. So again, let's just continue. That's just the kind of effect and why I'm feeling more positively about this book than I did about Cruel Prince. I sort of just jotted down notes like as things were happening, so this is gonna be just kind of all over the place and not really connected, but that's what a gush is. It's been so long since I've done a gush. I feel invigorated. So first off, when Carden is like drunk for a lot of the like first like third of the book and he is burning his rooms down and they end up moving him into the old king's quarters, I thought for sure Jude was gonna set herself up in the like adjacent room, like the room that he was in before that was connected to it, for sure. So the fact that we didn't get that potential moment is like a little like, why not? I also talked about this in my review, but I like that there are no truly good characters in this book. Like, Jude is not a like truly good person. Carden's obviously not. Like, all of, you know, Maddox, all of them are bad. Her sister is bad. Locke's obviously a bad person who's like constantly trying to kill her for just like funsies. Like, even her sister Vivi is like doing bad things and not always being just like a totally good, pure person. So I just kind of like that about this series, that it just like really leans into the fact that like this is a Fae world, the morals are different, no one is like truly good, pure being. Obviously there's some that are like at different places on the spectrum than others, but ultimately there's no like good person, really. And also I like that there's no alternative as far as like a love interest for her, because I am so tired at this point of a lot of like the ship wars and like ship discussion. So obviously if there was a counterpart to Carden that was like a nicer person, there would be all of this like, why doesn't Jude go for him? Carden's so toxic. And now we can just talk about like Carden being toxic and like not an alternative, which is fine. I just like that like that's the only, something about it, I just like that that's the only option, because then I feel like it just leads people to just be happier with the series anyway, because you're only going to read this if you're okay with like morally gray Fae stories where everyone's kind of bad and no one is being let in with the false pretenses of like a pure non-toxic romance. Before I segue into talking more about Carden and Jude, I do want to mention that the bomb and the roach and like a potential little like love thing, I liked that little like just a little bit of just side romance. They like each other. That'll probably get wrapped up in the next book. I like it. So like I also mentioned in my review, there's so actual few Carden and Jude moments. Like what is there, like 4? Like there's not a lot of like moments, which is what makes it so good. Slow burn, hate to love, there's banter. They might not even get to love, honestly. Like I'm not even expecting them to be like in love with one another, but like the attraction there, I love it. Like just and I know it's toxic, like we don't need to like fight about how this is problematic. It is. Would I want to date someone in this kind of situation? No, obviously not. But I like the dynamic in fiction. So like the whole scene where he was saying like, tell me again that you hate me, as they were like kissing, I'm just like, ah! And even that moment they had where it's implied that they did like sexual things but didn't have like fully have sex, even that I was like, we're gonna have that and like not talk about it? And usually I'd be so like, about something like that, because obviously like in like contemporary romances, if like the couple is like getting together like too soon, I am mad about it. But I'm just like, oh my god, I like it kind of hot. I'm kind of into it. Jude and her sister, I still don't even understand their dynamic. And I know they're both raised in fairy and they're both like opposite sides of a coin of like people who have sort of lost their humanity. But like literally, how is their sister still married Locke? Like he had tried to murder her, which granted, maybe, you know, her sister didn't know that, but like, and I don't like her sister. I know you're not really supposed to, but I'm just like, how, like she just seems far dumber than Jude, and I feel like Jude can be dumb. So I don't understand. Even though I also like the toxic relationship of the Jude and the Carton, I don't understand her sister and Locke. I don't. Other family dynamics. I liked Maddox a lot more in this book. I liked him in the first book. I like, it was kind of a compelling thing with like, again, it's sort of like it's a bad toxic relationship, but it's, you know, he murdered her parents, but he's also this father figure. Talking about this stuff sounds so stupid, but I'm just leaning into it right now. Because when you say it out loud, you're just like, oh, but we all know, we all know what we're here for, okay? But I really liked a lot of their conversations, a lot of the like, sort of like chess pieces and stuff, and how he is this like father figure, mentor, like taught her a lot about like scheming and stuff, and is also this like opponent to her now. Super interesting. I really like it. This book is like so Slytherin that it hurts. Not because everyone is like bad, but mostly because of like everyone is so focused on ambition. And I like that like literally everyone is so focused on ambition. Arguably the only character who is not focused on ambition is Vivi, but what I liked about Vivi is even her you have as like this not purely good character, and when she was compelling her girlfriend, it gave me serious Willow and Tara vibes. And I'm glad that the girlfriend found out and broke up with her, because girl, that's not cool. So I was kind of just sad for the whole thing, because I'm like, Vivi, like you should know how to protect her better. Damn it. But yeah, definitely was giving me Willow Tara vibes from Buffy, if y'all are not familiar. Oh, the moment at the market where she traded a tear to the hag. I think it was a hag, some kind of like hag witch. Curious about what that's gonna do. That's obviously gonna have some kind of fallout in the last book, and I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm intrigued by it. So towards the end, when Jude's sister like betrays her, is helping work for Maddox, and she goes and convinces Carton that she's Jude, and, you know, commands him to do something and whatever. And Jude's like, I didn't command you, like, why did you do that thing? And he's like, because I trusted you. I'm just like, Like again, I do not have any notion, I do not believe they're a healthy couple or that's like moving towards being healthy, but like, there is something very just compelling and sort of like a pure moment of like, these characters have hated each other, but they also have this like, at least he has like a certain level of respect for her and a trust for her. I'm just like, he's been kind of trying to convince her in his shitty way of releasing him from the bond because he's like, I trust you and I'll like follow your like advice. It's kind of sweet, I kind of like it. So as far as her whole thing like under the sea, hated that and was glad that like Holly Black doesn't do good passage of time well, because I was able to just kind of like fly through that, because so many other books I realized as I was reading that we would have been in that undersea for so much longer and it would have been awful and torturous. So I'm glad that it didn't last very long, but I expected there to be more fallout from that. Like I expected there to be more fallout from her not having been glamored, like, you know, like Balekin kind of found out, but other than that it was just like, like it wasn't, you know, they built all this up of her being like thinking that they were glamoring her, and then when they found out that she wasn't, it was just like, we're not even really gonna address it. It's like, okay. And the grand finale, what does it all mean? So he marries her, she's the queen now, and then she gets exiled after he like builds a whole like land thing, which was cool. I don't love that Holly Black, I don't think does a very good job of world building, because it's just like, look, this is how things work. And I'm again just sort of like rolling with it for this series now. I'm just like, whatever. But I did like that scene of him just like being a boss and being like, oh, you're gonna try to control me? Well, there's land under your sea, lady. It's like, ooh, good, sick burn. But I do get the sense, especially with that whole like trust conversation, that he married her and exiled her to sort of like save her in a way. Like I think there's definitely, he's scheming, because like, as the Roach mentioned earlier in the book, it's like, we've been treating him as like not a king, but he's also sort of like part of our spy crew and he's a schemer too and all of that. So I feel like that's him doing that, because she always is like, he hates me, and like, yes, they have a dynamic where like, you know, they don't completely trust one another. And she keeps being like, he hates me, of course he would do this. And I'm like, girl, I don't think he hates you. Like, not as much as you think he does. So I definitely think that he did that as like a twist loophole thing to protect her, and I'm very eager to see where it goes. Because I knew that the title of the last book when I read this book was Queen of Nothing, I was like, I kind of feel like she's gonna be back in the human world, and but I didn't feel like she'd be like legitimately the Queen of Fairy. I thought it was just gonna be like, you know, she's still like the puppet queen kind of thing. So very intrigued for Queen of Nothing. I'm excited about it. Please don't mention anything about it in the comments. As I mentioned in my review, I don't want any inkling of anything. I didn't hear any inkling of anything. No one gave me hints. Don't give me little emojis, none of that, like, just you wait. Don't talk about Queen of Nothing at all. Only talk about Wicked King in the comments with me. So I end up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, as I mentioned in my review, but in case you only watched the gush. So comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the Wicked King. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.